welcome back to another episode of Six Man Blitz. We're here ready to bring you some NBA, NFL talk, bring it all, NFL offseason, NBA finals. We're here to talk it all. But one of the things I've been hearing, the buzz that's been going around, DJ Moore and Justin Fields, that connection is there. I've been hearing it, and I've been, seeing videos of it, but they're saying every day of practice, these two are building that great connection. And they look dangerous already. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are they're going to be some thoughts catching a lot of balls. Pause.
Crazy.
Nah, it's a match made in heaven, and I think Justin Fields is going to be the MVP.
Yes, sir. We're going to make that bet eventually. We're going to place that bet maybe with Caesar's Book Palace or what's it, JB Smooth? But we're definitely going to make that bet soon. We're going to talk anything NFL minicamp. That's been happening, mandatory minicamp. Some guys have been showing up. Some guys haven't. Contract issues. We're going to be covering it all. And then NBA finals. We're going to discuss that. Is Jokic up there with Tim Duncan and the other great centers now that he has a chip? We're going to discuss it. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Now, the Nuggets are officially NBA champions. This was a huge deal for them. I mean, it was a big deal in Denver and Colorado. It was their first championship. So, big props to Jokic and the Nuggets for getting it done. This obviously wasn't, the series, the NBA finals everybody wanted. But, it happened. What were your thoughts on this series as a whole? And what were your thoughts and your reaction to Game 5 of the finals last night?
Man, it was a well thought out series by the Heat. They outperformed their expectations by a long shot. So just the fact that they were there is a surprise in and of itself. And that's what everybody's saying. So shit, hats off to them, but they shouldn't have been there. And that's why nobody wanted to see the series, because as great of a coach Spoelstra is, he still was working with, an old team with a bunch of undrafted free agents. So hats off to him to getting them to that position. But it was like, man, we would rather see a different team just because we thought we would get a better series. And that turned out to be at least half correct. And my reaction to Game 5 was I didn't like it, honestly. I felt like the refs swallowed their whistles and just guys were just out there desperate. Like Kyle Lowry swatting at the ball, like
that foul
even
on Jimmy.
Bam, like just trying to instigate Jokic the whole time, just the cattiness of it. And that's what you do when you're desperate. Don't get me wrong, but the fourth quarter, I will say, was very entertaining. So it closed out great. So, but the first three quarters, I was just like, this is ugly. Everybody's missing shots. It's 70-70, and what are we doing here? So, but
it was like 90s basketball.
The fourth quarter was very ugly. So,
yeah, I thought the Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo, his performance earlier on in the game, 18 points in the first half. He was able to get him going. And then, Jimmy Butler, he was putting up a terrible final performance, final game of their season. He was putting up terrible shooting numbers. He didn't look good in this game, but the role players looked decent. And then, the fourth quarter, he turned shit up and was finally getting it going. But, it wasn't enough. The Nuggets, they made the shots when they needed to. So, I mean, just hats off to this Nuggets team. Michael Malone, they did it. Jokic was great. They were able to, cut his assists down. He only had like 4, I think. But Aaron Gordon, all the names the Nuggets have, the big 4 they have, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Jokic, they all step up when they need to. Aaron Gordon defensively.
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown now. So
another white knight over there too. I think his last name's Brown too, right?
Yeah, he came from Kansas. He's like won championships everywhere he's been at, so that's another dude.
Yeah, he's got 5.
It's fucking crazy. he's
3 state,
used to popping champagne.
1 NCAA, and 1 you know, obviously NBA.
Hey, but did you see Jokic though? Like he was like, he was like trying to go home for his horse racing and shit, and he was like, "But we got a they were like, oh, we got a parade on Thursday." He was like, "What? No, like I gotta get home." Like what? This is crazy. It's crazy to see a superstar like this, like that, just like kind of treats it like as kind of like people are saying is treating it as a hobby, but like really, this guy is humble as hell. This winning, this NBA shit is not everything to him. Like,
yeah, he's treating it like a job. I mean, as great as you could have the best job in the world, you still gonna have shit you don't like about it.
Yeah. And it's the celebrations for him.
Talking to the media and all this extra shit outside of playing the actual game is every NBA player does not like that. Outside of maybe a few, like Draymond and shit. Like, but we don't need to hear your thoughts on your podcast. You ain't playing no more.
Yeah, he be breaking it down though, low key. He be giving pretty.
No,
good
I appreciate it, but it's like, come on now.
Jokic just like his like it's interesting seeing a superstar like this, because like
and I have a theory on this.
Go ahead.
So hear me out on it.
Go ahead.
And you probably seen it in the group chat last night.
Okay.
I was just getting my thoughts out there in the universe, but when you look at these small market teams and how they're building for success, specifically Milwaukee and now Denver, even Dallas in the past, not necessarily a small market, but you get my point. They went all in on foreign superstars, and
it's paying off.
This might be a broad statement because I'm sure there's a lot of foreign players that love like the nightlife and what comes with the NBA, but it seems like the American players love that shit way more and are way more fixated on going to the big market.
That's a clear example.
And all the things that come with the NBA, the IG models and all flying X, Y, and Z out and all that cool stuff. Whereas the Europeans and the foreign guys are actually interested. They're not interested in that side of that with what comes to the NBA, and that interview alone illustrates that perfectly. It's like, shit, I'm trying to go back to Serbia. Shit, he ain't trying to go to Miami or Cancun, wherever. So that just speaks volumes. Even Giannis staying in Milwaukee, I feel like if he was American born, he would have probably went to Miami or to Golden State or something like that. So,
and that's a good point.
That's my theory.
That's a great point.
It could be incorrect, and I hate to make blanket statements, but it there has to be some truth to it. You feel me?
Has to be. I mean, you look at Luka too. Like, he's somebody, he's played professional basketball since he was like 16. So these guys have that professionalism already in them. I mean, Jokic, he's obviously, focused on, the horse racing and stuff. He's not at the club. He's not worried about the IG models getting porn stars pregnant and shit. Because he already got his wife. Him and his girl are already good. So, yeah, there's definitely some truth to that, I believe. But what do you think about Michael Malone and the Nuggets already saying, we're not focused. I mean, we already got the jobs not finished yet. We want to get more championships, and we're going to win more championships. Is this a possible dynasty now, you think, in Denver?
Absolutely. I think their core is all young.
Yeah, they're young,
and they're built the right way. I mean, look at their top 7. Hard to argue there's a better 7 out there. Yeah, other teams will get better, but as long as they hold pat on that, they'll be good. Because what comes with experience, and Golden State's seen this too, is that camaraderie, that time together, that time on task together, and being through the bubble, guys getting injured the year after that, the following year after that, and then winning after and still being young and still being able to do that again, shoot. Outside of injury, I don't think anything could stop him.
I don't think so either. I mean, shit. They look good. They played great together. Michael Malone seems like the right man to ride the ship or control the ship. So they all seem like they're bought in. I mean, Aaron Gordon, look at, his years with the Magic. He wasn't able to finally get his footing and finally, play the right role. But now with the Nuggets, he's able to buy in, do some of the things he does extremely well under Michael Malone. And he was an all-star, I think, this year or the year before. So, I mean, it's paying off.
Yeah, he's really an X factor, especially defensively. You've seen how well he guarded Jimmy Butler this series. I mean,
that's something that
he
people
put him away.
about.
He did not have a breakout game, and he was averaging less than 20 a game in this series, if I'm not mistaken.
Bam was probably
he might have been just
scorer.
at 20.
Yeah, Bam was probably averaging
exactly.
more.
So, the ability he did and how big they can be with him on the floor, being a heavier set dude and just built the right way.
He was guarding LeBron too. Yeah.
Exactly. Like he could guard 1 through 5. So, but he's typically on your best wing offensive player, and he's one of the best defensively at that spot. So you add that with the length of Michael Porter Jr. and the length of Jokic, and then just how good. And this is my bold take. I think Jamal Murray and Jokic are first team All NBA next year.
I think so too. We're seeing Jamal Murray. He's gonna get better. Like we're seeing him on the stage. We saw him in the bubble. He looked really good. So like now we're just what he's gonna become now. We might be in for something. He might be really good like down the road. Like continuing.
No, ain't no might, because we've seen at his very best, there's no one better statistically. Like he's putting up gaudy numbers. Pause.
In the playoffs. And with like a number one like Jokic, who can like
right. So
MVP player.
They literally both for first two time teammates to have 30-point triple doubles in the finals. Like shit is crazy. So this team is built.
He be
built to last.
Lock up, yeah.
So I'm only impressed from what I've seen.
Are you a Denver fan now? That's your team.
Well,
now?
I was born in Colorado, so
okay.
I've been a Denver fan. If we're being technical.
Okay. Now what's crazy though. Jokic winning a chip with the number 15. He's probably gonna get that shit retired.
Probably he's people ain't even gonna remember Carmelo wore number 15 when it's all said and done.
I low-key forgot, low-key.
That ain't crossed my mind.
But so with the Miami Heat though, you think it's fair though? Mm-hmm. With the finals run, the playoff run they had, all the great wins and success they had in the playoffs, you think it's fair that gets outshined and out the way because of them losing and coming up short in the finals? Jimmy Butler especially.
Oh yeah, history is written by the victors. You could probably tell. You could name like probably the most recent L's and some of the bigger championship L's, but you can't name them all. You don't know who lost in goddamn 2000.
No, I don't.
You don't know who.
But I know the Lakers.
You can't name every team LeBron beat. In his championship run, or you can't even name the teams Kobe and Shaq beat outside of AI's Philly team. So, I mean, that's my point exactly.
That's a fair point, yeah.
So, nobody remembers the losers. Can you name all time? Like, how many people can name all the teams Tom Brady beat?
They're gonna have a fucking like brain aneurysm or something.
Like, ain't nobody think about no losers.
That's true. But hopefully, the Heat still. I mean, they still had an incredible playoff run. Jimmy Butler did his shit. I know with that performance he had last night, everybody's like Michael Jordan's disowning him, all this shit. Like bro, hey. You see people like they were like, oh, like a bunch of girls were playing basketball and stuff, right? And they're like, this is how Jimmy Butler was in the playoffs, just saying like he was like ass. But people were like, is that Kyle Lowry? I was confused with the reference too, but but no, yeah, it just sucks. Jimmy Butler definitely. I think he deserves credit for getting the Heat there, but in the same time, it's tough to see him come up short. I mean, he gave it his all. Unfortunately, he got had that turnover to end the game. But like I said, just got to give credit to the Miami Heat. I do think, though, there was some rumors coming out earlier today, I think, that said, Kyrie, that the Miami Heat tried to trade for Kyrie at the deadline. So I do think a superstar will be in Miami next season.
I agree, and you could tell they're a superstar away, and they might even be further away than that, just because how poorly their role players played in this finals. Like, come
Max
on now.
Strus, bro.
We thought one way of them all playoffs, and then nobody feels that same way after the finals performance they had, and whether the moment was too bright or this is something that they can take it as motivation moving into next year is only time will tell. But I'm not sold on them moving forward. I think adding a guy like Dame or Kyrie, I doubt Kyrie comes, but a guy like Dame gets them closer, but it doesn't guarantee a championship
they would need some more
another finals appearance, in my opinion.
How many times are undrafted guys? How many times are you going to bank on undrafted guys? So I think you need to get some more proven guys, some more guys.
You got to have the talent.
Yeah, talent for sure. Because Jimmy Butler, this Heat team, they always overperform or overachieve, but still at the same time, you still need a Dame Lillard in there. Even Tyler Hero, I'd be happy to send Tyler Hero to the Trailblazers in a package for Dame Lillard. Get Dame Lillard in there. Get some other shooters that have been there, that have that championship experience, and then you'll be onto something because that Heat culture is something different.
And that's another point. What do they got to give up to get that, and how much of their core are they going to be willing to part with? And the Trailblazers are, if they do trade Dame, they're going to blow it up. They got the third pick, so I'd assume it'd be a lot of picks.
Oh yeah. I think definitely, as long as you keep Bam and Jimmy, and then just, a lot of people are going to want to come play in Miami. You get Dame Lillard in there too.
For sure.
So, you're going to be able to get some people to, sign some contracts at a lower expense, but, definitely. Or even,
Dame in Miami would be crazy.
He gonna shoot the lights out. It would be nice. It would be nice.
That would be crazy.
I think they would be my favorite in the East if they make that happen.
Yeah, outside of the Bulls.
The Bulls, your favorite team, or the favorite to win the East?
I thought we were talking about favorite teams.
Nah. I'm like the Bulls.
What are you talking about?
I was like, this guy. Wow.
I'm like, damn, this nigga got hella favorites.
But I do like, Bradley Beal to go somewhere else too in the East. I think
I did see that video, shit up but too. I didn't click on it. I agree.
Yeah, I think they need to blow it up.
Yeah, the problem is Beal's on that big deal, so somebody gonna have to eat a lot of that. That's hella bread.
For sure. Remember they were like rumoring him to like the Warriors and shit. Imagine if he went to Golden State. Yeah, that'd be nuts.
I would put a package together and reinvent the Splash Bros because I think Clay has showed you his anytime you have a two huge setbacks, you're shortening your prime drastically. So like that window is shrunk, and it's not going the other way at this point. There's no way in hell. We've seen the best. He got one more chip. out of it. Y'all got one more chip out of this run, and you were able to get 2 without KD, which is a huge, a huge needle mover in Steph's discussion as the best point guard of all time, and he's already ended that debate. But for Clay, he could go get a bag at a smaller market, and they're gonna have to go get somebody else.
Not yet.
If they want to be competitive, if they want, because they're gonna have to start canceling these. They're gonna have to break up the big 4, and
Draymond's gotta go.
Out the ones that are. You might be able to keep Draymond just because if these guys can stay, but they just gotta be at a discounted rate. They'll be on the team friendly deal, but if Draymond trying to get Baroque off, then no.
What do you got the podcast for? That's other income for him. He need to take that lower deal. I mean, because
but him and Bron be kicking it, and Bron is just like this. His money ain't even close. Like right. We talking. Like that's if Bron your best friend and you moving and grooving, but you ain't moving like he moving. This nigga a president. He El Jefe. So you trying to get where he at. Shit, that's the goal, and that's what he doing with his little podcast thing, trying to get into the media, what have you.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good spot for him. I think he'll be able to have a nice spot in that when he retires. But Jordan Poole and the other young guys, I think you put a package of them, send their ass somewhere else, and Pascal Siakam is another name they're talking about getting. I would love that for them, or Bradley Beal. That would be nice. And they would be able to do something dangerous with that and continue. I think they would give Denver a run for their money with Bradley Beal, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, and Curry. But you need a big man. Kevon Looney can't be your big man going into next year. You're starting big man.
Gotta go get Siakam or somebody.
I did a video about the Warriors a couple of days ago. Brook Lopez would be nice on the Warriors. A big man.
Oh, yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate, can shoot the 3. Be perfect for them.
And I think that's better for Draymond, too.
Oh, yeah. You keep Draymond.
Now you don't have 2 bigs that can't shoot, because Brook is still going to space the floor. And then defensively, now you can compete with the Lakers and Denver's and these bigger teams. So I love that too, because now you got 2 cornerstones on defense, Brook Lopez and then Draymond, obviously. And then if you can keep, obviously they already pay Andrew, so if Andrew Wiggins on the wing too, defensively they'd be there.
Yeah. Andrew Wiggins, he's their best defender right now, so they would have to, they got him locked
outside of Draymond.
Yeah. But definitely, the Warriors, I think one of them's got to go. Either Draymond Green or Jordan Poole. I don't think you keep both.
Jordan Poole is no question. You got to get up out of there.
Maturity issues.
You got to get one or the other, though. You're right.
Yeah. They both can't be on the same team next year. Bob Myers, that's why he stepped down, because he didn't want to make that decision. He didn't want to be the guy to make those decisions. So somebody's got to.
Sometimes you got to sell when it's high. You got to sell when the stock is high. You can't just ride it till it goes down and you just eating your profit. You got to go out when you at on the top. That way you don't see the fall of it, because all things come down at some point. You can't have a dynasty forever, right?
Yeah.
Look at New England. Look how long they did it, but at some time it comes to an end. So.
And I don't know if they're gonna get back to that shit ever.
You can see the writing on the wall if you're a GM and you looking at how old guys are, and then you whiffed on the Poole signing, and then you whiffed on your second pick, which was really like that could have changed that could have extended the dynasty if you hit. So
they could have got LaMelo instead of Wiseman.
Which would have changed the game. You could have got Draymond out of there. You could have got a guy like Bam. I don't know. Bam might be off limits, but just upgraded Draymond.
Remember, we were talking about Ben Simmons being in there, being that upgrade over Draymond at a point.
I seen a picture of him. He looked over big.
Yeah, he looked like he was doing his shit. finally done with those mental health hurdles. Maybe, hopefully.
I can't risk it. I can't roll the dice on dude. I can for the low.
Oh yeah,
but
it's just
for no superstar contract.
No, he's probably never getting that again. That's probably done. But definitely though, another guy who's kind of a little, we've been seeing him on the podcast interviews he's been doing. It's a little zesty.
Sure.
Karl Anthony Towns. You think the Timberwolves should trade him? Because they're in cap hell. They have Rudy Gobert now locked down with a crazy contract. Anthony Edwards, you got to build around him. Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, how much more are you going to win with this, team you got right now? I think you get rid of him. You could get picks back that you gave for Rudy Gobert, and you can get, maybe some other players that help fit your team a little better and roll the dice with the, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert being your center, Anthony Edwards being your focal point. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that.
I would. I think you stay with Cat just because he's still a good piece to build around. If you look at the centers in the league, he's still top half. So you look at it from that perspective, and then you look at the Jokic and Jamal Murray connection. If you're Minnesota, you want Cat and Ant to be some type of 1-2 punch. Yeah. I'm not saying, but you were looking at that as a prototype. Like, damn, we got the score, and we got the big. We should just be running dribble handoffs and fucking pick and rolls with their ass to death, like, i.e. Denver. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, that Denver makes it look way easier than it is, but at the same time, I think you build around those two players. Everybody else, though, should be interesting.
Available. Yeah.
Yes. Fast.
It's tough, though. Minnesota, I mean, how much more can they do to be competitive? I mean, what's interesting, though? You see the Pelicans, they said they're interested in the third pick, and the Trailblazers have the third pick, so they're interested in trading for that. And you know what it takes to get a pick in the top three. A lot of other picks, a great player. So Zion, could he be available? Could they trade him to get the dude that was in LeBron's Shining Stars movie? What's his name? Scoot Henderson. He's apparently, really good, guard. So it's going to be interesting to see what that team does and, Minnesota does in this offseason.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this offseason looks like. I mean, the Bulls have to make a decision at this point. I think if we stay packed, we're only going to be out of the conversation for the play-in. So
yeah, the teams that are below us, the Pistons, they just got Monty Williams, so they're going to be better. The teams that weren't in the play-in below us, I like those teams a little more now because they have some certainty, to them. They have a good coach, So, if we don't make any moves, we don't make a decision on rebuild or something, we're just going to be in no man's land.
Facts.
But
I'm excited for the offseason.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be fun. But NFL mandatory minicamp.
What's your take on baby Gronk?
Hey, I saw an interview him and his dad were on, right? This new podcast. They had Justin Fields on, and the dad was basically he was just telling him, "Hey, say this. Hey, say that." It's worse than LeVar Ball, I think. It's a lot worse.
Oh, it's way worse.
Way worse.
It's way worse.
Because LeVar Ball
at least LeVar's kids were nationally recognized before we even heard of him.
And this is a kid in elementary school. And he's not on the level of Cody Paul. You remember Cody Paul? The dude in the...
Man, do I? That's my generation, nigga. That's what I watched. I make it rain. I make it rain on them hoes.
Take it
I
to
used
the
to watch
crib
that
every
shit
time.
religiously.
Nah, he was nice.
Did you see that video of whatever happened to Cody Paul?
No, I didn't. What happened to him?
He was like 5'5", 5'6". He was very fast, but he played like D3, maybe NAIA ball.
Damn.
And he had success, but
he's probably breaking hella records.
He was just little as fuck.
Damn.
But you see that a lot in Pop Warner. You see a lot of guys that are just developed a lot faster, and then everybody else catches up and then passes them in high school, and it's like they wasn't really good. They just hit puberty earlier, or just were bigger just by whatever situation. So
yeah, that's tough. Dude was cold.
Shit like that comes and goes.
Yeah. But I think this baby Gronk shit is too crazy. It's just too much. I mean, what are you doing to your kid? At the same time, it's like it's setting him up for failure at that point. Because even Lavar Ball,
you got him thinking that type of shit is cool. Like, oh, I'll take your girl. I'm getting body massages by baddies instead of going to middle school. What the fuck? And whatever. It's funny though.
Yeah, I mean, even when LeVar Ball was doing that shit, he was still, he had the shoes. He was coming out with, he was doing his own thing.
He was never on no like, oh, I'm stealing your girl type shit. Like,
yeah.
It's a little bit more. It was way more edgy than what he's doing. LeVar was just talking shit about basketball primarily.
Yeah.
And Brian Windhurst.
You know the shit. What did he say about him? He knew a lot about snacks or something.
He said, "Oh, come on now."
Expert.
You know, expert. You know what he an expert of? Snacks.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying.
He was top tier comedy, top tier entertainment. But let's get back to mandatory minicamp. Let's talk about that shit. Saquon Barkley, he's not showing up to mandatory minicamp, dealing with the contracts issues and stuff. He doesn't want to be the highest paid player. He continues to say this, but he wants to get paid for the value he brings to the team and to the locker room. So what are your thoughts on this? You think they'll be able to get a deal done? I mean, they're shorting. Running backs ain't getting shit nowadays. It's crazy.
And the thing is, the problem with running backs is, Saquon talent-wise is worthy of a long-term deal, yes. But the position he plays isn't. He's had injuries in the past. So any team would rather tag him year after year, pay him the premium, and then cut him when they see any drop in performance, when they could get two guys for half the price.
Fucked up, man. That's really fucked up.
It's literally it's fucked up from a running back perspective, but that's what comes with that position. It's that, and that's the ugly part of playing that position. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody unless you are. And the game is shifting too. Like you got anomalies like Christian McCaffrey. Even like how the Vikings are doing Dalvin Cook. I mean, look how long he's been one of the best running backs of his era.
He gets hurt, but he still puts up 1,000 yards every year.
He puts up, his numbers are up there every year. But once you get up there in age, they trying to get you the fuck out of there. Zeke too.
He's not on the team.
So, right. And I don't think he'll probably help a team down the stretch, but his best football is behind him. So this is just examples of how the running back position has changed. Even Christian McCaffrey getting traded, obviously he's in a better situation now, but his injury history, who knows how long he could stay healthy for the Niners, and their whole team has issues with injuries.
Everybody,
even though they still put up big numbers and have success. Just to show you, it's just two ends of the spectrum. It's super hard to meet in the middle for that position. Just because look at what the Bears did. We just Oh, Montgomery wants 10 M's. Like, go find that shit somewhere else. We're gonna draft a guy who's got 0 miles on his on his jacket, and then we're gonna go get a guy in Carolina who, after week 9 or some crazy shit, he was the best running back in the league. So like,
fantasy, he was putting up numbers too.
Right. So come on now, like, it don't make it's not hard to understand why there's just a huge amount of running backs out there. They're coming out of college every day, and we don't have to pay you, and you get the injuries of the position just pile up.
Yeah, and now you're seeing running back by committees now in the league too. Multiple backs
for sure.
No clear starter. I mean, you see what the Bears are doing. You know, like you mentioned, the running back from Carolina, the running back from Texas, Khalil Herbert. He's probably going to take first team reps, but you have 3 running backs that pretty much can all start. So that's where the league's headed nowadays. It's unfortunate for guys like Saquon Barkley, who I think Daniel Jones getting that contract really. He didn't deserve it as much as Saquon Barkley because Saquon Barkley was that offense. He was putting up, his ability. We've seen him in, the playoff game, just those tough runs, those, big plays. He was creating it. So I think if I was a GM, I would give him a bag. But, that's why I'm not a GM. That's
exactly.
why. But
even Austin Eckler too.
Yeah, dude.
Did he ever get paid?
He was trying to get that back, but he gave up. He was like, all right, I'll show up to camp. I'll just play out the contract.
It's the fucked up thing about the position.
Yeah.
Is the value of it is not high, and there's a surplus of y'all niggas. There's a million different running backs everywhere. If a nigga ain't good, if a DB ain't good, or he can't backpedal, they putting his ass at running back, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's the ugly nature of the business. So
it's tough, man.
Just got to get it how you live. And Le'Veon, look at what Le'Veon did. He sat out that year and he got his bread, but he was never the same. So it's a gift and a curse playing that position.
Now he's boxing.
Come on now.
It's tough. But one thing we did last episode or the episode before, we're doing this new segment where we're breaking down and predicting the divisions, ranking the 4 teams in the divisions, and saying who's going to win, who can still make the playoffs in the division, and who will be the worst team in the division. But this week, let's do the NFC North. Let's do our favorites. Let's try not to be biased here. The Bears are our favorite team. This is a Bears loving podcast. But
Pro Bears.
Let's start off. Who's winning this division?
I'm gonna have to go with Detroit.
Okay.
I think honestly they'll probably have one of the best records in the league. The additions they made, Jared Goff being in the system another year, the weapons they have, and the draft pick they just got at running back. I mean,
Gibbs, yeah, he's nice.
Even the addition of David Montgomery too. I really like them. The offensive line. They just got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, drafted a bunch of DBs. So
DBU.
I think they'll probably have the 3rd seed if I had to guess. So it'll be San Fran or Philly, 1-2. And then I think maybe Detroit will be next.
Okay. I like that. So I like, your prediction of the winner and stuff. Who do you got the second best in this division?
Oh, I think the Bears, no question.
Okay. Finally agree. Hey, I like it.
And I think we'll have a wild card spot. I don't know how many games we'll win. It all depends on how we close out games, because last year we struggled at that very terribly, like one of the worst in the leagues in terms of like games where we had an opportunity to win and we did not. Obviously, after we won that 3rd game, we didn't win again. So
yeah,
and there was plenty of opportunities to do so.
That's crazy.
So I think if we could patch that up, at least majority we should be able to get 10 wins and then sneak into a wild card spot.
I like that. With the schedule too, it's a little easier this year, so I like that prediction. Now, third and fourth, who do you have as the worst in this division, and the third best?
I think the Vikings will be third. Obviously, they were one of the best teams in the league last year. One thing though was that they won all their games by one score or less. And a lot of those were comebacks. I don't think see them having that same edge. No Dalvin Cook, so this team's going to look a lot different. Kirk Cousins, I can't anticipate him getting better at this point in his career. So
yeah, I think they're going to regress this year.
I think they caught lightning in a bottle last year with just how magical of a regular season run they had, and teams are going to triple team Justin Jefferson at this point. Now, he's unstoppable, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. So that's an X factor you got to think of. But I think we'll go from being one of the worst divisions to being one of the more competitive ones.
I think so.
With a lot of teams around the middle of the pack. So I don't think, record-wise, there's not going to be a big difference between us, the Vikings, and Green Bay, but maybe 1 or 2 games. So, or maybe 3 games, say. We go 10-7, and they go 7-10, or
8-9.
9.
Yeah, I can see that. Like we go 10-7.
I see those teams being right around there, Green Bay included.
Yeah, I think 8-9 for Green Bay, 9-8 for the Vikings. That's a good spot. I like what you got. The only disagreement.
I think Green Bay will be like 7-10.
Jordan Love.
I don't think Jordan Love can do it. I don't think he's a game manager, and that guarantees you middle of the pack with a talented roster. So
yeah,
they've got a semi-solid roster, but we'll see. They don't really make any. They never make any big splashes, so it's not like we're gonna surround him with talent. They didn't do that, so.
Yeah, all their talent, all their good guys.
Gonna struggle.
They went to the Jets. All the great Packers, Besides, some people they still have the young talent offensively, but the only disagreement I got with you with this, predictions, is the Bears winning the division. I don't see all the Lions hype, man. I think there's going to be some games that they come up short. Now the Chiefs game, week 1, I think they're going to take an L in, and I think just all the hype surrounding them. I think they're going to be a good team. They can sneak in the playoffs, but I think the Bears are going to win this division. And, maybe it's Justin Jones in the press conference saying, he wishes Rodgers was still in the Packers. This team's different. This Bears team is different. Hype talking me up. But I really feel confident about this Bears team this year. I think this is a new team. Defensively, we look, a lot better. I trust, what Ryan Poles has done. Offensively, we look great and dominant. Poles and DJ Moore connection is there. I think that's enough with this schedule, how we look. We can win this division. But it's going to come down to those division games. You're going to have to beat Detroit.
It's going to be some dog fights.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're going to have to sweep Green Bay. You got to sweep Green Bay, I think. Well, you don't have to.
For sure. And that ain't going to be hard. And we'll go from we'll have the best quarterback in the division now.
I think so
I think that you do have a good case there. I think I'm taking Justin Fields over Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is the middle of the pack quarterback. Although he had a fantastic year last year, he's still, when it comes down to these big games, I know he's going to regress.
Sure. And the thing too is we got to win those Minnesota games too. I think those Minnesota games are going to be really important. And
we usually play Minnesota well. Like
when we're good,
we always come to the
when we're good and we have a talented team. I think so too.
And Kirk don't like to come to the Midway. Speaking of, is Naperville the move? That shit would be crazy.
It would.
And you know what's crazy? I've been looking, just looking at houses since we're getting ready to move within the next year. And a lot of houses around that Naperville North area just went up for sale randomly.
Damn.
I don't know if it was just a filter on my thing changed or what, but I just seen a lot more in the neighborhood area since the news. It seems like now. I don't know if the two are related, but
They could
just
be.
something to think about.
But that's what's up. I mean, that's our predictions for the NFC North. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to keep covering stuff that's happening, mandatory minicamp. Anything big happen, we're going to drop a video. And NBA offseason is going to continue, in a little bit. The draft is next week. We're going to drop videos. We're going to give our reaction to that. You will never go without updates from us, and that's a promise. So keep following up with our content. Instagram, Twitter, 6Man Blitz. TikTok, you know by now it's not 6Man Blitz, but it's, something affiliated with that. But yeah, like I mentioned, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Peace. Expected to be a huge album. I mean, the last one he dropped, Astroworld, is one of the greatest albums of all time. We're being honest, no skips on that. I expect similar greatness in this new album. So, I'm excited to check it out.